So there's a vast improvement.
I can't believe they don't make players where like you can sting the frame, step through them. And then even when you can, it's a pain because you know there's a lot of frames to go through. But
Yeah.
still, you're always wanting to stop on a particular frame or something. But like that one guy's video, the guy chopped up into like 44 pieces. So that's a little laborious trying to get the 44 pieces.
Yeah.
And like here your transfer of the file will get interrupted or something. It doesn't give you an error. You just won't have a complete file.
That's
But then,
right.
like Windows Media Player, depending on the file format, I'll start playing it. But then when you get down there to wherever it drops out, well, your computer's going to spaz out. Who knows what's going to happen? But you know, it's a bummer when you don't give a message saying that you had a problem.
Yeah,
with
that's
the file. And you know, because of the way they calculate their megabytes and stuff, you never know for sure. You know, was it just kind of rounding error in the way that they're writing the megabytes, or was it or did it get interfered with? You're not sure.
Yeah, I noticed that the copies are usually a few megabytes larger than the originals.
Well, that's what happens when the virus comes on there.
But I see it on everyone.
But it's nice if you download the file and it tells you how many bytes you started with and how many bytes you got.
Yeah.
That way you can know that I got the whole file.
Yeah. I can get that, but I got to look at two different windows.
But, you know, I've downloaded files and, you know, the modem's supposed to give you errors. You know, your whole transfer process should have gave you errors.
Yeah.
You got all these CRC checks and things, you know, on the transfer of pieces of the file.
Yeah.
And then on the file itself. And then, like, if it's an executable, it's supposed to do a CRC check when you execute the executable. And then when the executable is a self-extracting archive, and then that thing, it's got its own checks on each file within it and everything. And then you extract those, and then you start running the install, and it runs, and you never see an error message. It just, you know, does some stuff, and then finally it's done. And then you start trying to use the product, and it works, but it's so broken, it's ridiculous. They're able to sell it. It's like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And stuff. And then, like one time that happened to me, and I suspected, you know, I got a bum file, and then I tried to ask the other guys about transferring it over the cable modem, and it would take about 12 minutes, you know. And then they're going to spend like 15 minutes or more debating on whether or not they should transfer the file with the cable modem, you know. And it's not really very practical to try to get the file with the phone modem anyways. And they have a whole problem of that service likes to flip over and call the 800 number, but then it charges you like $4 a minute that you're on that number. You're supposed to log in and like look up a local dial number and then log off and then call that other number. And if you don't, because you don't realize you're when you dialed in to like check your mail, you don't realize that it didn't dial the number that you've set it up to, that is defaulted back to calling the 800 number, and then you run up a big you run up a big bill with the service, if not the phone company or both, you know. I never told you the whole story about how them 900 numbers got started.
No. 900, I've heard of them, but then they sort of faded away. And
well, no, they just so many numbers, and now they started up other numbers. Like for 800, they had to go to 888s for toll-free. But some of those 800 numbers aren't really, they're not toll-free, I don't think, or something. Or at the very least, the people you call, the phone number might have been, the phone call might be a free, but then they're charging you so much interacting with the company. See, that's what that one computer place did. They give you that 800 number where you could call in, and then you're supposed to look up local dial-up numbers. But you don't realize this. You switch back, and the software doesn't do a good job a lot of times of letting you know which number you're connected via.
Yeah.
And they had one company giving you free internet service, and then how many people will end up getting slammed with a $400 or $900 phone bill?
Yeah.
Because it'll be a while before you get that phone bill that has much of your computer surfing on it. And by then it's too late, you know.
Yeah, right, I do
You
know.
done got a $900 bill, and to people worth $50 a month is a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, when you ain't got but about $50 discretionary money per month, you know, a $900 phone bill is just an impossible bill to pay.
Yeah.
Especially when if you don't pay it right now, bad things are going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they charge by the $5 a megabyte when you go over your 4 or 6 or 12 gigabyte limit or something.
Well, I don't know how much stuff you got, but you might be able to start all the way back from October. You may have to work your way backwards, huh?
Yeah, that might be a way to go.
I guess I'm get December and January, and then you can get whatever else you want on
I
there.
think I've got your name on each one that you appear in, I hope, or close to it.
I don't know.
I can check by the blocks.
Actually, they appear in some that you don't know about.
Maybe.
Yeah, I know.
You know. I have this left over from being in there. I'm tired and hungry, and all I can think of is to invite you to go over to Pennsylvania Avenue. I could buy salad for us or something.
No, I just got finished eating.
Okay.
Well, somebody gave me a sandwich. I have to remember to get my sandwich out.
Bismillah.
They told me they gave me a pork sandwich.
Alhamdulillah. Hallelujah. Yeah, we're permitted to eat pork if it's the only meat available and you don't want to insult your host. But otherwise, we try to find other kinds of meat. Oh, maybe that'll keep me up.
We're supposed to be afraid to eat chickens probably now or something, all-day chicken flu.
Yeah.
But they say that, you know, a lot of people like live with their chickens over there in China. And so that's why whatever flu from the chickens always seem to cross over there, because they just have so much exposure to the animals. You know, they markets over there.
Yeah.
You know, this just, you know, they feed an ungodly number of people. So, you know, like how you have the fruit market here, you got 1,000 apples, but they got 1,000 chickens or hundreds of pigs or something. Everybody's got a couple of pigs for sale. So there's just a tremendous number of animals at those places. Just everything's just such a, you know, massive scale. Do you see the cities and stuff they build over there?
Yeah, I've been reading about it. I haven't seen them, but
yeah, you just build up like a whole city, a whole community, and so like they have all these apartment or high-rise deals, and then it's like they kind of mix it up a little bit, you know, so not everything's exactly the same. I guess maybe it's some apartments and some other businesses or something. But then you look in the back, and it's just that same thing again and again and again. But they were saying that they are opening up like a coal plant per week over there.
Wow.
And then they were going to start up, what, 50 reactors or something?
Yeah, I did read something about that. They built an airport that was 10 square miles in 2 years or 4 years.
You know, Saudi Arabia always seems to be doing things on a very massive scale when they do stuff, but I guess it may not be quite as vast as what happens in China.
Yeah.
In China, you know, it's just such, like the Great Wall of China, see, that it's not just a big wall, it goes and goes and goes, you know.
Yeah.
But they 10 times the population of us.
Yeah, we're 350 million.
And they're like 3 billion or
3 billion?
1 billion or something.
1 billion?
Is it 1 billion or 3 billion?
India was like 1 billion last I knew, but they're probably more like 1 billion.
I was thinking they were about 10 times. I think they were like, we're 300 million and they're 3 billion or something.
That's a lot of people, 3 billion. Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 billion. But still, 10 to the 9th.
I forget.
10 to the 9th.
But it's hard to believe that's all the Americans are. When they come out with back when it was 300 million, I told people that, you know, and then over time, then it's like 320, you know, 330. You know, it didn't take but like 2 years to go from 300 million to 330 million. But during that 10-year period, I tell people there's only like 300 million Americans. They're like in denial. No, there's a lot more than that. Haven't you ever heard of Houston or something? It's like, did you ever hear of Reagan? You know, his mutually assured destruction herd you all up into these metropolitan areas. And so there may be 1 million of you living in that one spot, but then how many of those spots are there around the United States? Well, I guess you got 300 times a million.
Yeah.
So you got 300 major metropolitan areas, and I guess that's almost it. But then a lot of 1 million, I guess. So, you know, you'd have like 500,000 or something, or 1/10 of a million.
Yeah.
So that would give you, like, if you had 3,000 that were a tenth of a million, then that would count for all the Americans. It's hard to believe that an eighth of the American population lives in half of California.
Mm.
All just waiting to slide off into the ocean.
Yeah.
But they had one guy, they took advantage of him, and they controlled when he was going to get to come over and do his speech, and they have him come over and do California at a particular time.
Yeah.
So an eighth of Americans hear his message at a particular time. Well, then you can expect things to change. And so sure enough, you know, that's exactly what you had. It wants to rain almost, huh?
Yeah, right. It's getting colder.
We get there.
How is your place holding up where you sleep? You're
Well, it's
managing
fixing to be too hot.
Too hot, okay. Are the animals keeping at bay all right?
Yeah, I try not to take food over there, but then I'll have something in my bag and they'll have to chew a hole through there. A squirrel wants to come over there, I think. I think the mice stopped coming over there much.
All right.
I think it's mostly a squirrel.
Oh, well, that's more hygienic, hopefully.
But it's kind of weird, you know, there's some things they'll dig through your bag to get to, but then they'll leave something else there. It's like they're not going to touch that.
Huh.
You know, like for rats, they are, you know, it's hard to poison a rat because he's real smart about avoiding things that's going to kill him. But then they find something that he doesn't know to avoid. And you think they'd learn, but I guess if it's a good poison, it kills them, so you can't go tell the rest of them, don't eat that. But if that rat don't eat something, then maybe you shouldn't eat it either.
Yeah.
People are telling you like put that burger outside in the yard, and it'd just sit there all week. Nothing wants to touch it.
Yeah, I had to throw away some salmon. Didn't get eaten on time. But I'm starting to, my batteries are kind of draining at this point.
Yeah, when you have lots of food, then you don't feel very hungry and your food goes to waste. By the time you get ready to feel real hungry and want to eat something, it's all come bad on you.
Yeah.
If you don't have much to eat, then you're just starving to death.
Well, it's not that bad yet, but you look in good shape, and it looks like you're doing well.
I finally got rid of that excess weight I put on a long time ago.
Good.
It's been hard to get rid of it. I don't know how people get rid of all them extras, boy. They use ridiculous amounts of pounds and stuff.
Looks like you're still practicing the heavy.
Right? So many calories all the time that it's ridiculous, and then metabolism got all screwed up. I guess one thing is you get used to using the energy from out of your food and not your fat reserves, and so you're never tapping your fat reserves. You're all tired and depleted and hungry and don't got no energy because the other mechanism's not kicking in. This one girl, she's all big and everything, and she's been that big like that for quite a long time. She's barely eating anything. In fact, she keeps doing all this fasting, and she's going to stick with that fast and everything. But she's not understanding the way that she's doing her fasting and then back to eating. It's triggering her body to. Some people say it makes your body grow additional fat cells. And so then it's real hard for you to ever go back to being like regular size because you've just got an overabundance of fat cells. Y'all want to have like, I guess, some minimum fat cell size. So even if they got to where they weren't all plump, you're still going to have a lot of material. Whereas other times your fat cells just get big. It's not, I think, not the counts doesn't change. They just get big.
Yeah.
But apparently there some people, I don't know, they're kind of talking in layman's terms anyway, so I don't know if the count really just changes or it's just their way of layman expressing
at the corner, Mecca. You can't stop.
But if you pig out and fast and in the right proportion and timing and stuff, then it makes you pack on the pounds.
Yeah. Mecca, stay.
I come up with the theory, you can eat healthy. You know, a lot of people eat a whole lot of food, healthy food, and they don't gain weight.
Yeah.
And you could eat a lot of junk food, then you won't gain weight.
Okay.
But if you eat healthy and eat junk food, you'll pack on the pounds. And I have a theory behind it.
What's that?
Because, see, if you're eating unhealthy, you're just eating junk food only,
Yeah.
you can't put on the weight because you're unhealthy. You're not eating healthy.
Yeah, yeah.
But see, when you eat right and you're eating all them extra calories, well, then your body says, hey, let me do the healthy thing and pack some calories away. But when you're eating too bad, you can't put on the weight because you're not able to. You're insufficient. You're too depleted for that.
Yeah, it's all a bunch of kindling wood of burning up quickly.
Well, it's kind of weird. They want to act like you're supposed to be so terrified of the calorie. Like, don't eat that sugar. Eat this maybe cancer-causing chemical. You know?
Yeah, no.
And it's like, why should I eat maybe cancer-causing chemical instead of just eating some sugar? You know, why should I be terrified of the calorie? Calorie is a measure of energy, the chemical energy to feed my chemically fueled body. So somebody's just trying to terrorize me. There's nothing wrong with eating the sugar and getting a couple of calories from it.
Yeah.
They just want me to eat their poison.
They've got a laboratory. They want to make money.
Yeah, we want to sell our chemical. We got our patent, and we got to make as much money as possible off our patent.
I found a national...
But people get so accustomed to that. It's like nowadays you're required to use terrorism as your sales pitch. If you're not, then you're not allowed to be in business. And then everybody's so accustomed to all that you can't get them to respond on anything that matters. So I guess I'm just going to have to start making them address it all, not just the very important stuff, but all up and down the thing. Put a stop to people terrorize me about eating a couple of 10 calories or 30 calories or whatever a gram of sugar is. It's not very much.
As long as you burn up more calories
As long
than you
as
take
don't
in.
eat a whole package of cashew.
Yeah.
But see, like you eat that soft drink and that's how many calories? And by the time you drink very much of that, well, that's your whole daily's allowance of calories from that alone. And then whatever you eat, so you're double. So your body has a lot of calories, exposure to a lot of available calories.
Yeah.
And then it's a question of what does it do with them? Does it just pass them through, or does it pack them on, or what?
What you need is for your computer and your phone to be able to automatically do what you normally manually do, so you can go out and exercise and come back and get a summary or see how your computer's growing while
You're
you're
supposed
away.
to pedal your bicycle and generate enough juice, and then that'd keep you busy.
That'd charge your computer.
You'll find out how much electricity you're really using when you got, because it takes a lot of work to make that electricity. All of a sudden, when you're manually generating that power, all of a sudden efficiency is going to become really important.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you want saddlebags for the bike and put the computer and phone in there and charge them while you ride around. Then it uses the radio to link up, and it automatically grows like a tree or a plant, and then you get to look at it when you have a chance, but it's always growing instead of this manual thing where nothing has happened since you last manually moved stuff around yourself.
They just kill everything and stuff. They killed the best fishing hole in the world. You got to kill the biggest fish until you crash its population, then move to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, and so now you have nothing left to eat.
Well,
that's what they do everywhere you go.
There's supposed to be an infinite amount of data and stuff, so the information world should be able to grow itself constantly, and when you have a chance, you look, and these beautiful trees and stuff of information have grown, and your apps and subscriptions and stuff are always growing, and it's not you only manually by the clicks that you do making things happen. So you're out biking, charging everything, and it's all closed, but it's still learning and growing and doing stuff, and you're charging it from your bicycle, pedaling.
Well, you find out real quick how much your work a unit of electricity represents.
You got my computer grows faster than your computer. That's the new one, you know. I got bigger trees growing in my computer than you do.
Well, see, if you got that windmill out there churning away in good winds all the time, you know, you can leave that light on. But if you're having to pump that generator to make that light light up, all of a sudden you're going to keep that light off for a lot.
Yeah, but you want your computer to always be on and your phone to always be on, not just when you use it.
Well, see, some electronic devices use so little power.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, you know.
And yet they don't do anything unless you're holding them and looking at them.
They tried to get that ink paper, iPaper.
Yeah. That's a while ago.
So some of them they would like to try to make it where it makes it the words, but then it can power off, and then you might take however long to read that, but the thing is just completely off until you need it to draw the next page of the book, and then it can come on, draw the page of the book, and shut down. So it never needs to be on more than a few seconds at a time. Versus it needs to be on to display, burning power to display something, whether if you're reading it at the time or not, you know.
Right.
And so you know, that's one of the other variations of trying to do it, is do it with the technology that can, that has the persistent ink, where you just adjust it, and then you power down, and then that's just on there.
Yeah. So you can save a lot of the power on the screen and brush the screen and leave it and go away from the screen, but it would still keep growing in the background on the internet and stuff.
Those stills like the Nooks, I guess that's their Retina display thing. You know, they got really nice colors and stuff on there.
Yeah, right.
And then what's really great is you look at the like low resolution cartoons. You know how like in a coloring book you got the solid outline in black?
Yeah.
And then you got whatever color, but then it might be a shade of blue instead of just one tone of blue only or something.
Yeah.
But you know, it's kind of like a low resolution image, like for a cartoon, you know, or children's books or something have those kind of pictures in them a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of some of the like cartoonish animation kind of films, but it's kind of weird. You're using a super duper resolution device to show you what's kind of like a low resolution picture, but it makes it look really good. They were coming up with this one thing where it would make it like look like it was wood and stuff. Hand drawn kind of thing. So instead of, like if you draw like a, a lot of people are trying to make the computer image look photorealistic.
Yeah.
What they wanted to do is there's this whole style of like animation for cartoons where you do like wood and rocks and stuff. So like if you did a castle or a wood or a log cabin or something, so you got the wood planks on the floor and everything, and so they were trying to get some software that would help you generate those kind of scenes, but not photorealistic. You want it to look like an artist drawed it.
Yeah.
And they actually come up with something that worked really good.
Yeah.
So you like can take a photo of a room.
Yeah.
And then it will do like the edge detection.
Yeah.
And everything, and then it will put in the artistic lines, make it look like an artist tried to draw that scene.
Yeah. Wall Street Journal would do that so they didn't have to pay the copyright on the photo. They'd say, no, it's a line drawing. I don't owe you for the copyright. Are you hunting over there?
Your line drawing was the derivative.
Actually, not far from wrong.
That one kid said, that dog has no eyes. And then his parents didn't know what he said.
Yeah, you did a good job.
We finally got that job.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how busy you've been making data, but shoot, you may get 6 months on there.
Yeah, I can. What I'll try to do is excerpt the stuff that you're on first and get that all on there and see what's left.
Just put December and January on there.
Yeah,
that's the main stuff.
Okay. But I want the current stuff too, because there's a big contrast. You're much calmer now, and.
Did you shoot footage while you were gone? You were gone like a month?
I've been here the whole time since...
I thought you said you were going somewhere for a
I
month.
wanted to go back to Maine, but I didn't make it.
I didn't see you for a while. I thought you were gone.
Yeah, you went down the hill. They said I could get in trouble or something, and then I had sent a letter over to the court, I guess, about... to Chief Justice Rehnquist. I sent him a letter about the videos I was making and stuff, because I figured he's my neighbor and I'd let the court know what I'm doing. And about after that time is when you said, they said I could get in trouble or something, and we went down the hill and we said, you came back and got a bunch
You're
of
not
stuff.
allowed to do it because we want to do it.
Yeah. And then I didn't see you again until...
Well, see, MIT is supposed to be so great because they got somebody that's recording his whole day. Never mind, there's some old men up there in D.C., dude.
Yeah.
But see, that one device would have been nice because they could shoot for 17 hours. That's pretty much a whole waking day.
Yeah.
And then you could transfer your stupid 17 files or fewer all in one shot, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just have a folder per day.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that would be a lot more convenient. I don't know how long that battery's supposed to take to recharge, but you can buy several of those external battery packs and just always be letting it run off of those.
Yeah.
They're
but
like 40 bucks a piece, I think, or something. Or it
there's
might
a
be
problem
more.
with a camera angle, though, like we talked about.
Yeah, which way it points.
Yeah.
See, some of those people, they build their little RC planes, and they like to put cameras on there now,
Uh-huh.
or their RC helicopters.
Ah, yeah.
And so, which way do you want the camera to point? Depends on like how you're going to mount it to your plane. If you want to look out the front of the plane, or you want to look down to the ground.
Yeah.
And so if you had that pin, you could put it on the belly of your plane, and then it could look down at the ground.
Yeah.
When you're flying around. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So you know, like how they used to fly the plane down the roadways, and they'd map like they get the photo like to a mile either side of the road.
Yeah.
And they just fly all the roads in America, basically, shooting a mile, plus or minus a mile, to either, you know, a mile to either side, and just fly that camera.
What you want is a little personal one follow you around.
Now you have Google.
making the...
Somebody's got this video, you know, on Google Earth, how it, like you're starting out in space and you're zooming into Earth, and
Yeah.
you're zooming in. Now you start seeing the buildings and stuff, and then it keeps on zooming in, and this guy, go away! But they had started the little, the like little personalized spy satellites.
Yeah.
That's what they did on the last space mission. Is what they'd be telling you. They let a few of those out. I'm not sure how many they let out. At least one.
You can buy like a drone helicopter for $1,000 now,
Oh yeah.
but I don't know what it costs to operate it.
They got gyros now, and they put that on the helicopter, and now now you can actually like fly your little helicopter instead of tear up your helicopter. It's really difficult to hover in the helicopter, and that's when you're in it. You know, you don't have the feedback when you're over here, and so it's very difficult to fly that helicopter. But now they have gyros small enough the helicopter can lift it up, and so now it's gyro stabilized, and so that's why you see a lot of RC helicopters now. Before they were pretty rare because it took a lot of talent to be able to not crash. But now, and then they got them little bitty ones they show on TV. They flying around in the house, and I bet you have to fly it in the house because any wind's going to be too much wind for that little thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like swimming upstream. That river ain't got to be moving very fast, and you ain't going to get nowhere.
Yeah.
You have to be you have to be able to swim a good top speed, you know, or you're not going to be able to outswim that current. And then you better get it done and over with, or you're going to get wore out before you get there. So you got to just go all out and get there and get it over with. But if you can't swim very fast, you better not get in that current, because you ain't going to outswim that current at all.
Yeah, I get swept downstream. That's what happened this morning when I was
But
remembering
you
things.
might just be a few feet from the bank, but if you're going against that current and you're not a fast swimmer, you're never going to make it. If you're a fast swimmer, you might be able to do that 4 mile per hour swim and get there, outrun the 3 mile per hour current, you know.
Yeah.
But if you're a bad swimmer, you never could outrun that small little current.
Yeah. Unless you get your dog to pull you along from the riverbank or something.
One time we were down at the river, and it had rained upriver. Well, we had baited the hooks, and we went out to the house, and then they were watching the news, and they said, well, it had rained off like over there a whole bunch upriver, and so we just went right back to the river to check. But you couldn't even find the hooks because where they were hanging, the water was all the way up there, so it was up like 3 feet or something. And I guess they were in denial as to how much the water were up and want to go down the river. Well, there's a place down there where you can walk across and barely get your ankle wet when it's normal height, you know. But it's like, it's going to be like rapids down there, you know, even in that part. There's rapids a little further after that. And I figured, well, we're probably okay. We can get out because if it's 3 feet here, it's only maybe 3 feet deep there, but it'd be running good. But you could bail out maybe if you needed to or something. Well, we get in the river and we're going down there. And I finally got them to listen. The reason is they have to admit that they're having to reach into the water to get to the branch that the hook's hanging on, that the water really is up, you know, 3 feet. And so they just, then of course, you know, let's go have a look. You'd like to go down there to the shallow river crossing and have a look. And I'm like, you know, the current's picking up the farther we go. And then plus you got how much water else coming too, you know, you don't know. And so finally got them to listen to reason and turn around and we're heading back. But they don't want to paddle right, you know, in sequence with you. They want to act like they power. My brother and dad both do the same thing. They want to act like they power stroking it. And it's like if you put your oars out, you could just use a long stroke. It'd be a lot less work, and you can have time to look around and everything instead of feeling like you're getting your exercise. But they feel macho, sticking that paddle down in the water, you know. And so you can only go so fast when they won't cooperate on paddling, you know. And he'd be acting like he's making all this progress. He's being real macho. And I tell him, look at the bank. We're starting to go backwards. Because the more macho they tried to be, the more we were getting drugged backwards. And it's like, they think, do you think we can make it much farther up? And I'm like, no, we better get the boat out now. Look at the bank. We're already going backwards. And this is a good place where there's just some grass right there to get out. You're going to be having to climb through the trees if you don't get out. But that could have turned disastrous going down there getting in flash flood water, ahead of the flash flood water. That's not too smart. That's like going into those concrete channels in Los Angeles or something. And then the rain comes and that wall of water hits you like a dam break. They say they're building another new dam, 1,000 feet tall.
Wow.
More than 1,000 feet. They're talking like the Three Gorges Dam was going to be about 1,000 feet, but I guess it's just under 1,000.
Yeah.
I thought it was supposed to be like 1,033 or something.
Yeah, I lost track of that. That was
That was a huge deal, but China's just such a big operation that even that huge of a dam is a drop in the bucket for them. Before they can get built, they're already got it all committed to cut it down.
Yeah. Then they were digging channels and moving water north to Beijing, really starved for water.
Yeah.
They need solar seawater distillation.
They got that one. They're gonna like generate that power there, but then they want to use the power way far to the north. I'm like, well, shoot, maybe they should build solar panels there next to where they're generating the power, and then ship the solar panels over there instead of messing with the power line. You know, why? You know, it doesn't make sense. Why spend $1 billion building a power line over in California? We can just put solar panels out there on people's houses, or put them somewhere, you know, close by or something and whatnot. But what it is about you spend a bunch of public money so that way your buddies in the contracting business get money sent their way, and then you got your big private project out there, which of course you get all this extra subsidized station for and everything. But you know, you have the public build a power line so that you get the profit from using it. They do the same thing like with the research. You know, the government funds the research, but then how is that research ever going to get used? Most people, you know, the government publishes a lot of data information, but most of the public doesn't even aware that it exists, and even if they did, they don't know how to access it, and the odds are they don't have the education to be able to make usage of it. And so really, that was intended for somebody's corporation to get to utilize. for their efforts to make money off of and stuff. And really, it's not so much corporation as industrial complex, military industrial complex.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Get windy. You may have to go get all the wind. They said it was supposed to get cold, like for Sunday night.
Yeah, the apartment's a total mess. I started cleaning house last night, so there's not even room to turn around in there. But you give me a couple of weeks, I can try to fill up this drive. Maybe we try to meet like on the 25th here or something, and I could have it hopefully.
That's a long time, but it's going to take a while for you to transfer all your files.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of other stuff I got to do too. I don't know what's going on, but
You may just have to grab it and drop it and just let it sit there, but then it's going to tie up your computer for a while.
yeah, that's another thing too. I don't know. I
don't know how much, how big your drives are on your hard drive, your internal drive. Can't be but so big anyways.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the best way to do it is. I have those files on external hard drives now, so I could try to hook the external hard drive to the computer and then this drive also to the computer and then transfer the information through the computer from one external hard drive to this one.
You could try that, but sometimes like you find out your USB ports aren't as independent as you thought they were. So you may have to drop it on the local hard drive and then plug in the other one and then transfer it. But it would make it a lot easier if you can just do it from one drive to the other drive.
Yeah, a lot easier.
You just have to try it. But one deal is try to find out if you got when you plug it in, if you're plugged into a 2.0 or a 3.0 port.
Right.
Because aren't your computers newer?
The 3.0 is a different shaped cable and plug and stuff, so I'm pretty sure I don't have... The 3.0 cable and plugs are different than the 2.0. You got to use 2 plugs, I think, with the 3.0.
I don't know. It looks like a lot like a regular USB 2.
Is it different? Yeah,
They put a cable in there, but
okay.
Hopefully it works for 2 and 3. But I don't know.
Well, the last time I tried USB 3.0, I had to buy a card for the computer and try to do it through the card, and the card didn't fit in the computer.
Well, I'm not sure if there's how many computers, how long they've been shipping 3.0 ports or not. But see, like they had computers that had 1 and 2, but then the one you picked to use happens to be the 1, and little do you know, if you would have picked the other one, it would have worked so much better for you by a factor of like, what, 5 or something? Or,
I don't know.
But one, I think from 2 to 3 ain't that like that's a factor of like 5 or 10 on speed. I think it may be 10. Yeah, a lot of times it is 10.
And then Apple came out with this other drive above 3. It's some they have another port now that is like 100 times as fast, and I forget the name of that one.
Basically, you had to just get in there and like just grab a bunch of files and drop it and just let it churn away.
Yeah. Well,
and it depends on if you get an error, then you don't know where you're at and missed it all, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you might make like a month, make the little folder in root, and then like put the year and the month.
Yeah.
And then drop everything for that month in there. But that gets a little laborious after a while when you're doing very many months. If you're only doing like 5 months, that's one thing. But if you start doing 2 years... yeah, it probably needs some AI. But you can grab like December and January and then work from... I don't know, you might want to do the more recent ones.
Yeah, it should be hooked up to your calendar. You should look at your calendar and see these things and...
Well, see, like when you do a search, it's nice to just grab a folder and just do a sub-search from there down. Well, see, if you have a bunch of folders, like if you put your stuff in order by date and stuff, but then the problem is you want to, like, search this date range, but then they need to be in a subfolder for that to work like that.
Well, the way I search a date range, I can search the year, or I can put the year and the month and see
No,
everything.
but what I'm saying is you're using the folders to control the date search deal instead of trying to fill it out on the thing. So that way it only goes through those certain folders. But as soon as you want to index it two different ways, then you're messed up because you can't organize your folders two different ways. Until you get on Linux, and then you can make folders that just really link. And see, that's what those shortcut deals let you do.
Anybody that was halfway knowledgeable about computers could really do this a lot better than Facebook and.
Well, they just make a
awesome.
shell and then want you to throw stuff in there, and then we'll charge everybody else to look at it, or they'll throw their advertising model on it, which is even worse. Because you're sitting there trying to popularize your website, but then it's subjected to whatever happens when other people who buy ads, and they do the targeted advertising stuff, and so people can specifically buy to have their ad put on your pages, but then they interfere with your page's loading. So you make your pages small so they'll load fast, but then they put their stupid big thing on there. I call it Yahoo screwing me around. Their toolbars sometimes take forever to load. Other times it'll load just fine. And so, but unless if you can actually have authorities do a proper investigation, who's to know if it's Yahoo doing it, or is it just that the network is so loaded down somewhere along the way, and then it takes the extra long time for it to get the data for that toolbar across, and the toolbar is the same size as always, or was it somebody's throttling you somewhere, or did they crank you down and say, well, we're going to deliberately slow you down whenever you try to load the toolbar for those pages and stuff? There's all sorts of bad things they can do, and as people speculate what they think might be going on, then they're, oh, what a great idea, let's go do that. And I catch them throwing on the internet all the time. And that's one of the ways to get away with it's a denial of service attack, and they get away with it because you can't prove that they're throttling it. You don't know where it's getting throttled at, But if every time a visitor comes to my website, their computer gets trashed, then they're going to scream at me.
Yeah.
But it can very possibly be third parties that are kicking in there, and they're the ones messing with you. But they do that with the newspaper websites all the time. Well, is that newspaper trying to attack me? Did they write that article to bait me into coming and looking at it, so then they could attack the people that look at that particular topic article?
Yeah.
Or was it some third party? Maybe it was the advertiser people, the people buying the ads to put on that page doing it. Or maybe it was just some other party, like the government or somebody, or the phone company. Somebody somewhere is messing, and the problem is you can't get any of them to do anything about it because they know that they're doing it, and they don't want to catch themselves. And if somebody else is doing it, fine, because that saves us the trouble.
What bothers me about the ads is they won't let me look at the ads first and say, okay, this one, no, not that one. This one, yeah, no. Then they know what ads I'll permit them to put on my site. They won't do that.
Well, people put their video on YouTube, and then you approve that someone can put an ad on there, and then you get taken advantage of. Like they'll start putting things that you find offensive or your viewers will find offensive, and probably your viewers will find the same thing offensive that you do.
Yeah.
Because you've had the same training. That's why y'all like the same stuff.
Yeah.
And you don't like the same stuff,
So why won't they let you screen the ads?
Sometimes they're deliberately putting certain ads on your thing because they want to interfere with you getting any followers.
I hadn't thought of that, yeah.
Yes, that's what they do. A lot of this kind of stuff goes on. But you can't get the authorities to even begin to look at it.
So why doesn't someone offer an alternative advertising service where all the websites can pre-screen the ads?
You got to start your own internet.
Yeah.
Then you got to start your own phone company and everything. Put satellites out in space and everything.
Really?
Because that's what it takes anymore. You can't use their system because that's why they always want to make it where we're lord over the system. So instead of doing the programming, no, I'm going to do the account passwords. And then it doesn't matter what you do as a programmer, the employer always sides with the guy that I have the authority over the passwords. I can control whether if you can even do your work or not. Well, maybe the employer needs to fire you if you're interfering with the programmers doing their work.
Yeah.
But it's weird. They're going to pay people how many dollars per hour to do programming, and then pay someone else to interfere with them doing the programming, and sit around and laugh and think that's funny. It's like you're spending a lot of money. Don't make any sense, but they're too delighted to be pulling an attack against their own employee. There's something going on, and you try to get people to help figure out what's going on and get something done about it. And no, they all just want to grin and smirk. They know what's going on. The only good thing now is to get misery in my company and my misery, because they've expanded their target of who they targeted. So they targeting a lot more people than just me now. A lot more people than the group that I was included in. They let groups attack me, but then when they attack that group, then they include me in that group. That's what they do in one case. So that kind of sucks. But they're targeting more and more people, and guess what? Son Bush told you, weren't it? Son Bush, he said, no child left behind. But you forgot to ask him, which way you driving the bus? You see how they did the school system, didn't you? We're going to make this school so bad that these kids can't even pass their test, the standardized test, right? Then we're going to close this school down, and we're going to put all those students into all these other schools and drag them down. Because you have to teach to the lowest, the common denominator, right?
Yeah.
And so all you're going to do with that is drag the other schools down. No, maybe you need to give special attention to your problem area and make it change it from one of your worst schools to one of your best schools. Then that way you self-healing kind of thing that way, instead of cancerous.
Yeah, spread the virus.
But they always want to do everything in that direction. They'll do the same thing on the jobs. He's got more than one team. Well, do you hire one guy and put him on this team and he helps them? He works mostly over here, but he helps this other group some? Or do you hire a group that can do this work but can help a little bit on that one? Well, they're always going to try to do it in the direction of spread the corruption. Maybe you should hire the guy to help him. If you got one group that's in good shape, maybe you need to hire another guy to work with that group. And then that way he can see how to do stuff in an organized, controllable manner. Yeah,
and then let them go back to the other group.
And then that way their stuff doesn't get out of control because they have sufficient enough man hours to keep it out of control, and those people are getting good experience. And then when they do help on the other group, see, then they can bring some organization over there into that other group. Instead of it being the other way, because one thing, if you put them over here where this group's totally out of control, they're never going to be able to do any kind of, you're never allowed to spend any time organizing anything because you're always in the crisis. You're too busy with each individual dot to worry about what's being spelled,
Yeah.
And so then if you ever did go over and help on the other group, you're going to bring your corrupt methods over. And make a mess of what they have, that you need to be properly trained to work with the clean group. Instead of coming in there making trash, now they got to come in behind you and try to rework what you did. The company don't want to spend time with that because they want the cancer to grow. But it's hard to put that guy over there in your group where you don't need them the worst, But in long term, that would be a better solution, and the other guy would actually get to make some positive contribution to the second group. Where the other way, it's just going to get worse and worse. And they always want to just keep sweeping everything under the rug. Never mind, the rug's about that high. You can't even see the rug; you just see a wall of dirt. Well, let's put some more under there. And then you have to have an emergency and sign off on everything, just approve it all. Because they don't want to have to admit they could never have done the work, no matter how much time you gave them. And that's the way they do these projects. 6 months project gets put off for 4 years. Heck, they put their kids through school, through college or something, in the 4 years' time. Scratched it out and got how many paychecks out. But given an infinite amount of time, they'd never get the work finished. And so finally, the company just has to sweep that project under the rug and go on to the next one. We're going in a new direction. The client's going in a new direction. The whole industry has gone in a new direction. We're not going to do PC anymore. We're going to do Mac. So we can just, all them projects that we can't do, we're just going to throw them away and start anew on the Macs. And then in a few years' time, we'll have to switch back. And so now you've been 8 years, 4 years over there, 4 years over here, and now you still got nothing. Hey, this worked pretty good. In 4 years, let's repeat the cycle. So staying daylight a lot to do.
Yeah, spring ahead.
It's already pretty late, ain't it?
Yeah, it's 8:30 or 9 o'clock or something when it starts to get dark.
Yeah, it just.
Guess we better call it a day. You got a lot of stuff to copy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how fast your transfer might be working.
Allah Akbar. So, let's keep the 25th as a default, and we can try next week. When's a good, what's the library schedule? Thursday, huh?
It's Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Maybe Wednesday next week we could try to, at 6:30. But
you might want to meet in case there was some question or problem or something.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. But
hopefully it just works. For a lot of people, stuff just works for them. But it seems like if you're a programmer, it's going to take all your knowledge plus more to make it work. And it's like, how's a regular guy supposed to make it work? I think they put something in there to look around in your computer, look like if you know, see how much he looks like he knows.
Degree of difficulty app.
Yeah. It's like the more you know, the more difficult it's going to be to make my product work.
Yeah, it feels like that.
Now, 2 kids were walking on that wall like this, but over there. So they had 1 foot up on the top and 1 foot on the sliding part.
Yeah.
And then finally the smaller one was in the back, jumped down and ran head up and past Mom and Daddy and got way up there and got up on the wall. So, and then the other one saw what they did and had to jump off and run up there and get in front of him.
Competition.
You got to be at the front. Without a little one couldn't keep up. That big one kept running for his legs. He kept getting left off and just jumped down and ran ahead. They gave himself plenty of space to have time to get up there. Not going to get much computer time tonight. We'll see how he's too old.
Yeah.
Probably 7:30 by now. Seems like it might be late now.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to leave my backpack because they gave me a hard time about going into the Capitol with my backpack last time. So I got to work on that. Hopefully we'll get that straightened out so I can have my pack. We could work on the computer.
Well, like for Christmas, everybody was really pushing. You need to put your bag somewhere. Go hide your bag somewhere.
Yeah.
They all be trying to steal your bag. They think that you got a backpack and they're all like, go over to 2&D. And it's like, well, you're engaging in attempted robbery. How about I put you under arrest?
Well, as that bed is still there, if you're interested in that, I might eventually have to move that out so I get more room in the apartment. It's such a big bed.
Yeah, that takes up most of the room.
Yeah. So if you have a place that we could move that to, then you could have a bed outside to sleep in or something.
I ain't got no way to get that thing nowhere.
Yeah, it's hard to move around, but it's there. There's also that comforter.
You have to chunk it up and put it in the trash can 1 piece at a time. That'd be a lot of work.
Yeah.
But then you saw they were having to pay money to get rid of it,
Yeah,
See,
right.
and that's the way it is out in the country, you got to haul that stuff to the dump, and then they get to where they want to charge you a $20 or $40 fee and stuff.
Yeah.
We had this neighbor wanting to do something with this one deal, and he didn't know if he wanted to give it to me or remodel it and stuff or take it to the dump. And he wanted me to go over there and tear some old parts off because, you know, he was rebuilding the building.
Yeah.
And he wanted to see how much work it was and stuff. And we get out there, but his health's no good for trying to do no kind of work anymore, you know. And so